Hey, how's everybody doing? I'm Taylor.
And I'm Matt.
And we're doing another great episode. Matt is in Dubai, and he's showing you his backyard right there. A lot of apartment buildings. A lot of beautiful, beautiful apartment buildings. Well, we've got an interesting topic for you today. Today we're going to be talking about masculinity and what it means in the 21st century and what it means in America and what it means in Dubai. So Matthew, why don't you go ahead and go first and tell us not only what it means to be masculine, but what it means to be maturely masculine.
Man, Taylor's definitely not starting us off with any softball questions this morning. Throwing some real fastballs, but we're going to jump right into it because that's what we do. And Taylor and I were talking about this earlier, and the whole idea of mature masculinity can be a really difficult concept to define. It's kind of like the color red. We know it when we see it, but when it actually comes to describing it in a technical manner, it's easy to get caught up. And the way I like to break it down is a mature man is aware of his surroundings, especially within a relational and social context. And due to that awareness and that sensitivity, he's able to provide something of value for the other people, whether those other people would be men or women. And that can really take effect in a social context as far as just generating interesting conversation, or in an emotional context, just being sensitive to how people are feeling, what they're thinking, and then just kind of being gentle and caring and responding to those emotions. Just kind of in really affirming ways. So that's how I like to break it down. But Taylor, why don't you go ahead and tell me what you think?
Well, I'd love to tell you what I think, but honestly, I have no idea. I think that masculinity is extremely difficult to define. Like you kind of said, it's kind of like the color red. It seems like today we're kind of see a dichotomy of people thinking in terms of gender being binary or gender being kind of fluid and ranged. And I think that I am still very on the fence. I think that I want to be accepting, but I also see in my everyday life the stark contrasts of male and females. So it's very interesting to me, and I'm very open-minded to all of it. But one thing that kind of resonates with me is the words of the political philosopher Karl Marx when he talked about the role of gender in capitalism. Now, Karl Marx was a massive critic of capitalism, and he ultimately was like, hey, this stuff is going to destroy the world. And he said that capitalism will eventually eat away at the fact that gender is even relevant. Because if you own a factory, it doesn't matter if men or women are working on the factory line, you're just a worker. It's very interesting to me that he would say those words so long ago, and that we would still be talking about gender today, and even starting to think about gender as not so much one or the other, but as just maybe a range thing, or something that is maybe just one singular whole type of system. So anyway, that's just kind of my thoughts on gender, masculinity. What is the state that you've observed in terms of how gender is expressed and how sex is expressed in Dubai, and how that contrasts or is maybe similar to the United States?
Like you were just saying, Taylor, in kind of like Western culture and America more specifically, gender is becoming this much more kind of fluid thing that's, instead of there being a broad distinction, it's moving closer and closer together into kind of this single unifying force. And I think that can be really positive in a lot of ways. But here in Dubai, there's definitely a lot more of a distinction. And I've noticed this when I've gone grocery shopping, when I'm at the University of Dubai taking classes, or if I'm just out with friends. If I am around women, and I maybe try to approach them to say hello, or if I'm just kind of being friendly and, I'll smile at them or something, there isn't as much reciprocation. They tend to keep more to themselves. Sometimes they won't even look at me or acknowledge me. And that's not them purposely trying to be rude. I think that's just kind of what they've learned. A lot of the times the Muslim values tend to affect the different social forces in Dubai and just the greater Middle East. With those values, it kind of creates more of this distinction in male-female interaction.
That's really interesting. Well, you heard it not first, but you heard it from Matt here on the ground. He's right there in Dubai. He's living it, he's loving it, and he's observing and being able to report back to us. It's really helpful to know that the United States is not the only place where people live. There's other places where people think differently about things like gender, freedom, equality, and it's not better or worse. It's kind of ambiguous. It's kind of, well, this is what we do here and it's okay. What I want to know is, where is it all going? So Matthew, where do you, and this doesn't really have to do with Dubai as much, but where do you think gender is going in the societal perception of gender?
Something that I've noticed, differences between men and women, or people who self-identify as a man or as a woman, those differences are beginning to become diminished, and it's kind of morphing into this single gender, if you will, for lack of a better terms. So I kind of continue to see that happen, and I think a big reason why we see that happening is just because of this fight for equality. And I think equality is really important, and I definitely want to champion that. At the same time, a thought I want to leave you guys with, not so much focusing on the differences between men and women and seeing those as a bad thing, but really celebrating those differences and seeing them as complementary. Because a lot of the times, my natural inclination, just kind of due to my personality, is to be a little insensitive or just kind of ignorant to how other people are feeling, or just other people's emotional state. And that's why I need women in my life, whether it's my mom or just other friends that are girls, to kind of help me see that. It just helps me be a more mature man, because I can really meet the emotional and social needs of the other people that I'm around through the observations of the women that are close to me.
Definitely, man. You think you said it really well, and that's coming straight from the heart. We need our moms and we need our women. And I agree with you, Matt. I think that we are moving towards accepting gender as much more of a fluid or ranged thing rather than male or female, right? And I think that there's definitely a lot of good to that, because people are not being persecuted for being a woman, right? Women are being able to ascend higher in different institutions, and that's great. I would just hope that we are still maintaining and celebrating the differences that do make us unique in every aspect of our life. I really caution, the words of Karl Marx always resonate in my ears in a lot of different aspects, and I just hope that we aren't kind of succumbing to this massive force that is capitalism that really doesn't see gender. And again, celebrate capitalism as well. But you've heard it all here, folks. Try Dubai. Give us a like, and just let us know what you think in the comments. This is a very controversial issue of gender, and we understand that. So we want to have your input. We want a diverse input. So like, subscribe, all that jazz. See you later, Matt.
All right, see you, Taylor.